Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a conscious talk show to learn about self-empowerment, the law of attraction, creating financial abundance, and natural health. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love. We have a returning guest today, Tammy Braswell, intuitive channel with all that is, high vibrational healer, and energetic creation coach, guide, and teacher. Her website is www.createbyvibration.com. Today we're going to talk about automatic writing. It's going to be very exciting, something new for me.
Yes, it
Welcome,
is.
Tammy. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. How's your day going?
Oh, it's very nice.
Beautiful.
Nice holiday weekend.
Absolutely. Labor Day weekend.
Yes. Now summer's coming to an end and we're moving into
You know
colder
what?
weather.
You know what? I'm not ready to let go quite yet. So I'm creating over here an Indian summer.
Well, I've already seen the weather and it's 80s and 90s, so it's not just dropping off quite yet.
Oh, perfect. When you say you've seen the weather, like, what do you mean? Like energetically
No,
or
the Weather Channel.
the way it is right now? Okay.
I mean, I can alter the weather, but
We
I
all,
generally just look at it.
I have that ability as well.
Yeah. I like to move hurricanes because I used to live in Florida, so I got pretty good at that.
That's really cool. Okay, so how about we talk about that next?
Okay. How to move the weather.
Hey,
Yeah.
why not? All right, so here we
Anything's
go.
possible.
All
Okay.
things are possible. We believe. So automatic writing, what exactly is that?
Well, my understanding of it, from my experience, is it's one of the tools through which we're able to channel other spirits, other beings, unseen energies, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just an opportunity for us to open ourselves up and allow them to communicate through us.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of the easier forms or beginning forms for most people to be able to start with.
So, like, what happens? Are you typing on the laptop or the computer and your fingers just move, or are you writing and then you just something takes over the ink pen, or how does that work?
Well, it might be different for different people, but I definitely was doing it years ago when there were no computers, so I was writing, which if I had to suggest to anyone, I would suggest that form because it's different than letting it go through the keyboard. I mean, once you're really in tune, you could probably do that, but it's just relaxing. And I read a book years ago that was on automatic writing way back when, and it suggested that you take a certain time of the day each day to put a piece of paper and a writing utensil, pen, pencil, to the paper, and then just relax and invite the opportunity for that connection, and then to allow it to begin to write. And usually what happens when it first starts, it's hard to read. It looks like chicken scratch or a 5-year-old wrote it. And then sometimes it's even just one long sentence, so there's no punctuation. But as you tune in more and connect more, it'll actually start to write out information and respond. I used to use it as a form before I voice channel to the place I do now. Years ago, I used to just ask questions, put my hand on the paper, and let whoever was communicating with me, I believe it's the same energies that I channel now, but they would just, that was the opening, and they would just write information, and it was accurate. I'd get exact times for things. I would get
Wow.
like how things were going to play out, question, like pretty
Really?
close to immediately. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. Can you give us some examples?
Well, I was working at a job, and as a secretary, and I had a little free time. So I was really into it then. I would just sit and write, and I would ask questions that were things that should happen pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And, what time would this happen, or and I would get answers, and I'd just pay attention to, how close it was to that information. And it was pretty accurate a large amount of the time, not every time, but uh, quite frequently. So it wasn't me writing. The only caveat about automatic writing and opening yourself to channel anything is to be conscious of what you're allowing in. So to invite higher beings, higher energies to flow through you. So um, it was before I could channel like I do. It was a fun way of asking questions and getting information.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
You want to share anything significant to you?
Well, back in 2012, for a while I'd wake up in the morning and I'd journal, and sometimes I would just relax or ask questions and see if information would flow through, and sometimes it did. But in 2012, I connected with Mary Magdalene, and she channeled an activation through me that was several pages long.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
So what's an activation?
Activation, again, from my perspective, is that it's turning something on within you, activating something that's already there but dormant in some way. So some type of energetic switch to turn something on. So I'm actually creating a bunch of those now. I've been guided to start doing activations, which what they do is they just turn it on without you having to really do anything other than give permission for this to occur.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. My energy has something that I activate a lot of stuff in people normally anyway. So. I don't even know I'm doing it. So
it's normal, right?
It just
happens.
It just happens. Yeah.
That's cool.
It either freaks people out because they feel uncomfortable, or they think it's really cool and they like to be around me because they'll tell me, well, I was around you and this thing, I felt something change, or I felt this energy, yeah.
Wow.
Turning something on.
That's really cool. How did you discover it?
Automatic writing?
Yeah.
I think it was just I like to write. I've always liked to write. And it just did kind of happen, but I knew it was something that was not me. So I played with it. And then in the early 90s, somebody directed me to a book, that old fashioned way you went to the library, looked through the library index and went and found a book, no internet. And I read the book, and it just helped me to understand it better. So I started using it more consciously.
That's cool. I'm just thinking about like Esther, when she channels Abraham, and how they were explaining in one of her seminars how she uses automatic writing for writing a lot of her books.
Yeah, she just opens up and allows them to come through and do that. I use the computer now. I channel all that is for inspirational messages I share with my community. So I just sat here and say, okay, what do you want everybody to know? And then now I type it. It's because it's quicker than writing it and rewriting it. So, but yeah, that's to just open up and allow them to do it for you.
It's pretty fascinating when you think about it.
Yeah, they're all just tools. If we open ourselves up, then that gives the opportunity for them to communicate with and through us.
I got a question. So can someone experience automatic writing without being aware of it? I'll give you an example. Say for me, say I'm texting somebody a time to meet, and my intention is to type 12 o'clock. And then I type 1 o'clock instead.
Mm-hmm.
Is that automatic writing? Could that be like that broader perspective that said, oh no, 12 o'clock's not the best time for you, 1 o'clock is?
I would say that's just was an intuitive
Oh,
connection. Still, it's all, again, that form of channeling. We're all
uh-huh.
channels. We all open up to some station, to some frequency. And depending on how able we are to relax, that's where our intuition comes in, and people can tune into more knowing and be able to tell other people, I can sense this about you, or I feel this. It's all just opening that channel up to a place that allows more flow, and us being conscious and listening to what's coming through. So that would be your intuition, your connection to whatever energies that you communicate with that came through and let you know that that would be a better time. Automatic writing is more just setting down and let it, to me, it does take more of a conscious effort to do it. Now, if you normally write and then you notice that you were writing things that weren't you,
Yeah.
and then that you might start to go, okay, am I channeling something else, and are they writing through me? Oftentimes when you actually do automatic writing, the writing will look different. It won't be your writing. So you kind of notice that,
Oh,
well, that's unusual. I don't write that way. Yeah.
that's happened to me before,
Mhm.
but I didn't
Then
pay
that,
any attention to it.
but so yeah, so it, well, you must have noticed something, or you wouldn't notice that it happened.
Uh-huh.
So you
Oh,
just didn't think about it being automatic writing or something else writing through you.
that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna start paying closer attention.
Well, not only that, but just setting down and putting a pen to paper or pencil. I like pencil. The
Consciously.
lead thing flows to me, and just saying, okay, I'm inviting in my guides, higher beings, higher
Hmm.
energies to communicate. But you can ask questions, because then that helps the flow to me. Like when I
Yes.
channeled deactivation, I said, I want to channel, or I want information about, my own technique or something. And then she started writing.
So tell us what activation is.
Deactivation again.
Yeah.
It's well, to activate something is to like turn it on, make it work. Or
Like you
so
do your cell phone when you first buy it, you
yeah,
activate it.
yeah. You activate things. It's basically turning something on in them. I mean, that's how I would describe it. So an activation for a person is there are aspects of our energy that are ready to come forth, that are ready to be connected with, but we aren't aware of them. So let's say somebody like me whose energy is turned on really high, if you get my presence, it can actually turn on that space that is connected to that. So we can do it more consciously. Like I mentioned, I've been guided to create activations for different things. So
Yeah.
it's for flipping, to me, the polarity. So if you're focused on lack, then the activation would be activating more abundance.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense.
So it'd be activations for, getting in tune with your higher self or something like that. It's always, to me, the higher vibrational activation. So we're turning on the opposite side of that in the higher vibrational energy.
That's really cool.
Mm.
Would you like to share like how you activated some things in people? Like, would you like to share an example?
Well, I don't always know I'm doing it, but when
Oh,
I've had other people who are in the spiritual community who are tuned in, they'll tell me that that's just something. And I get the sense of that when I'm around people. Like if they start to get fidgety or feel uncomfortable, it's activating something in their energy field by being in my energy field that they don't know what to do with. And
oh,
then other
God.
people who say, so something's being turned on in them that they're not
So
necessarily
it's,
prepared for. And other people will say that they could feel something activated in them. I've had people say that.
that is amazing.
It's
So
pretty cool.
we affect people. We affect each other with our vibration.
So we're always going into each other's field.
We're
We
all
all
in.
have an energy field around, that's ours. And then when we connect with people, they come into that field. So they're actually feeling our stuff just like we're feeling their stuff.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Mhm. So when you get around somebody, let's say, that feels uncomfortable, it's because something in their field is touching yours and it doesn't feel good. Or do you ever have somebody come up from behind you that you really didn't hear, but you could feel something's back
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Yep, they've gotten into your energy field and their field isn't feeling so good.
So let me ask you this: how do you keep people out of your field?
You don't, unless you stay away from them. But like I've expanded my energy field, so it's really big. So I actually can go into a room and everybody is in my field.
So you can go into a room and you pretty much dominate their energy. Is that kind of?
No, it's just it's like touching it. So it's like it feels everybody. But I've just come to a place where I
You
don't.
feel them. So what do you mean? Like you can feel their energy to see how close to get, or?
I can just kind of feel everybody in there. Like I recognize people in there, and sometimes if their energy is really intense, my attention will go over there. But I respect the limitation of boundaries for
Yeah.
going into other people's energy because I think that's very intimate, very personal. So
Mhm.
unless I'm invited in, I generally don't go. But I can tell a lot of things about people, and if they're irritated, or even if they don't look that way and stuff, stressed
Yeah.
out and different things. Those kind of ones stand out even more.
I can feel that too. So, say for instance, you're at a coffee shop and you're working on your laptop, and I mean, I've had people move away from me. I'm just gonna say use myself. I like if I go to Starbucks or somewhere and work on
Hmm.
my computer. I've had people like I can feel their vibe isn't up so much. They'll like leave.
Yeah, that it did. Yeah, it didn't. There was something in your vibration uh, that I want to say the word irritated. It rubs their energy and they didn't know what to do with it, so they moved away. Most
Yeah,
people are not that conscious of that, so when something just feels off, they just want to get away from it.
because I have a huge presence too, and
Mhm.
is
It's
it
our
again
natural
too much?
state to come up to a higher vibration. That's why people say if they're really high vibration, everybody flocks to them,
Yeah,
or will like drain them, will suck their energy. When you get to a certain place, you're connected very clearly to source and all it is, then no one can drain you of anything because it just flows. So there's nothing
right.
you're taking that's specific. If they're draining you, then you're too much in your personal energy and not the collective.
That makes sense to me because there is no shortage of energy, and if you're
No.
connected to the stream just keeps coming through. It's just there. It stays there. There's
Mhm.
no disconnection unless we lower our vibration.
And if you want to alter, okay, I don't want to use the word alter, but influence maybe. And this is
Mm-hmm.
from a higher vibrational standpoint, just like if we talk about the weather, you only really alter these things when you get to a place that you're not in ego, because then you're
Yes,
doing it as a loving universal type thing and not for yourself. But if somebody comes into your energy and it feels uncomfortable and they don't move, then you start sending loving energy to them.
yeah,
And either they'll take it in or they will move.
I've done that too. I've done
Yeah.
that.
And that's a very high vibrational way of doing it. And it's not invading anybody's energy or doing anything that would be of a lower vibrational nature.
Yeah, I've had people come as well because they're like, "Oh, your energy is just so great." Those are more
Hmm.
the more conscious people, or it's just something about you.
Hmm.
Really cool.
We
Really
like
cool.
feel good energy. Of course we
Yes.
do, because our energy always feels good. It's just the human body and the human experience that makes it feel heavier and denser is what alters that sensation.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to add? Well, if somebody's just tuning into this and they want to experience the automatic writing, what do you suggest?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, just practice with it. Sit down and just get a piece of paper out. I would recommend starting with actual writing. and just let yourself sit there and relax and invite, higher energies to come through and communicate with you and ask a question like who is here or anything like that. And it might take a minute. And if it's not working, it's likely because there's some resistance in your energy that isn't quite opening the channel enough for them to communicate clearly. But if you just play with it for a while, it'll eventually they'll come through.
I got another question, something that just came through. Can you automatic writing, now we're getting into channeling, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's like
It is, yeah.
paper,
it's
right?
the tool, that's all. It's the way that you're able to have the channel come through.
Okay. Because I'm thinking about, like, if you wanted to channel someone who is, just say if you want to channel Prince, and you want,
Prince?
Yeah, like you want his inspiration.
The artist, formerly known
as the artist formerly known as Prince.
But then he was Prince again, so yeah, we're still on Prince.
So if you just say, for instance, someone's in the music, they want to channel that energy, that they want to be connected to that stream. Can they do that? And then the next question is, someone who's Prince's transition, he's in the spirit realm now.
Yes.
But then on the other side, what if someone's living, and say somebody like Oprah, and you want to channel Oprah, and you want her inspiration, and you want her to mentor you or whatever that is, or you want her wisdom. Can you channel that energy part of Oprah?
Well, let's go with Prince first. So he's transitioned, so you can invite him. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to come and play, but there's always that option to ask, and he may, or or you might get a similar energy, or even just invite Prince or someone who could help you help you understand or do the thing that you're looking for. Because maybe even though you think it's Prince, maybe it's someone else who would help bring forth more of your own talent than Prince. Someone who's still living, I wouldn't necessarily use automatic writing for that. I have some different exercises that I can have shared with people or have done myself that take you to a higher plane. So it's not being in the physical and trying to communicate with them. That's slightly different. It's going to a neutral place where their energy could come in if it wanted to. Does that make sense?
And this is someone who's alive?
Yes. Yeah. Because you can communicate with people's higher selves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Just relax?
That goes in a little more depth of an exercise where you take your energy to a higher place where they can meet you. It's actually like finding a neutral place in the middle.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to share a dream I had in my sleep state. Back when I lived in California, I started learning, I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and then I started listening to Napoleon Hill's CD.
Mm-hmm.
And he really inspired me, because this was like brand new information for me. So this is how I really started awakening at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna tell you what happened. Started reading his material, listening to his material, and I had a dream. I was at this desk. It looked like a hotel room or something, but it was a desk with a night lamp on. You know how you go to hotels and they have a desk where you can write and read or whatever it is. You want to sit down, and it was like that. I was sitting at the desk, and Napoleon Hill himself came in and was teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had never seen a picture of this man. I didn't know what he looked like or anything like that. Later on, I found out that man in my dream looks identical to Napoleon Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away. I was like, wow.
Well, you opened yourself up to that. You connected to his work.
Uh-huh.
And so he, because there are no limitations. So yeah, he could come communicate with you.
So he literally came through and
Yes.
like physically in my dream, and he was my teacher. He was
Yes.
teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. I have I actually just created a guided audio that I'm going to put in a transformational package. And it's a technique that I've used. I just call it the board of directors. And he sits on my table or my board of directors at my table as do other great minds. And then go and converse with him. Abraham Lincoln's a hoot.
He's one of them?
Yep. He's the most talkative. Yes.
I didn't picture him to be talkative, but looking at his pictures, he doesn't seem talkative.
Oh, he is.
He
Well, at
is.
least at
Was
my board of directors, he is. Yeah.
your board of directors? Was he
Mhm.
then, I wonder, when he was on the earth? He was in the physical as Abraham Hicks? I mean,
Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln.
I think he was conservative when he needed to be.
I see.
I think he was a little. I think a lot of people are more fun, in their private, especially if you're president or have to put on a persona, a face for the public. You are slightly different because you want people to view you a certain way.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, no, he's pretty talkative. If I ever finish my book, he helped me write the foreword in it.
That's super cool.
So
I'd love to be able to do that. This is fun stuff. This is like playing with spirit, playing in the spirit realm.
Yeah, it's just because there are no limitations. We only think there are, but it's what we can do, what we can communicate with, where we can go is limitless.
Do you have any workshops or anything coming up teaching about this stuff?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm actually doing guided audios so that people can take them and work with the energy on their own. But I am doing a channeling presentation at an upcoming expo in Ann Arbor on the 23rd.
Okay, that's on a Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be there on that Saturday. Wow. Maybe I'll
It's
come
the
back.
Soul, Enlightened Soul Expo. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there too. Wow, maybe I'll come back on Sunday. That's cool.
Yes. I'm pretty excited. So, but
Yeah.
that's the upcoming. Yeah.
Love it. So what other services do you offer if someone wants to work with you?
Well, the channeling I do with All That Is, group, block releasing. So you can bring, I've been shown, I'm going to shorten that sentence, but I've been shown that we don't have to keep carrying all this struggle and heavy energy that we do and that we have for so long, that we can switch it more quickly into the higher vibrational energy. So like the block releasing, you show up with something that you would love to just let go of. And most people can think, geez, I'd like to let go of that situation I have with that person, or whatever it is that feels like it's keeping them from moving forward or having the clarity they want to have. And I bring in All That Is, and you just literally like give it to me.
And when is that?
Oh, that's an offer on my website. That's just you can register for. It's like 3 of them, and then you just bring your stuff and that you want to let go of and not carry around with you anymore. And I was teaching a class at one of the Wayne County Community College campuses on understanding your energy for health and happiness. And one of my students who really couldn't feel energy, she wasn't sure about it. She took the class 2 semesters, but I did that block release with her. And I said, just give me whatever. And she was concerned about what she was giving me. She's like, oh, well, it's bad. And I said, it doesn't matter. You don't even tell me what it is. You just decide you're going to let it go. And she gave it to me. And a couple weeks later, she's like, well, and part of that energy process of releasing is you often get tired. It's your energy working to let go of whatever it is. And she said, I got tired and then I felt really good and it's gone. Wow. And I said, it's gone? She goes, yes.
That's perfect.
I never thought it would go away. She goes, and I wouldn't think I'd want to give anybody that. And I said, it's fine. She's like, that's just crazy.
Wow. So are you just like the medium, the exchange for that? Like she gives it, not exchange, but she gave it to you and you gave it to source. Is that how it works?
um, well, I just put my hands out and you just send it to me and I don't take it in. I've gotten to a place where I don't take people's stuff. I know how to just take it, but it's just transmuted. So I can't exactly explain it because I'm not sure how exactly I do it, but you can. And most people won't walk up and say, "Give me all your nasty energy stuff," and then I'll
Right.
take it for, yeah. It's just how I imagined it for years of that being something I wanted to do for people. And so now I'm offering it as a way to do that for people to let go of. There's a lot of things that we go, wow, I've done all this work and I have this block and I don't know what it is and I don't know why it's there. So just bring to mind whatever the situation is, the person, whatever it is, that if you could just say, here, take this, I don't want it anymore. And you do.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Well, thanks for all that good information you just shared. And
I think we
and if
touched on several topics.
we did. And if anybody wants to work with you, they can reach out to you on your website, www.createbyvibration.com, or they can reach out to you on Facebook, Tammy Braswell.
And
Um,
my email is tammy@createbyvibration.com. So you can email me if you want to do.
that's beautiful. Okay, thanks again for sharing all that good information, and we're going to invite you to come back on and talk about something else.
Great.
Perhaps the weather. I
Cool. Well,
think that'll be the next show.
and I think it'll lead into probably some other stuff. So,
Like it always does.
yeah, well, thank you so much. I love these conversations. This is
I do.
like playing for me. This
I
is like
do
my
too.
playground.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.